welcome back to Ozark Tonight. We are now bringing in Color 10's anchor, David Oliver, once again to talk more about the piece you just watched, our courageous conversation, Everyone's Child.
Yeah.
It's good to have you here, David. You had a long conversation with Dr. Farrell about this topic. What were some of the things that came up in that conversation that you didn't have a chance to include in your piece?
Well, you know, Dr. Farrell, Dr. Warren Farrell, if you don't know, he is a world-renowned author. He has written a lot of books, and he's done a lot of years of research into kind of what makes people tick, if you will. And you know, we included much of our conversation in the piece there, but one of the things we didn't touch on in the piece that he talked to me kind of at length about is that, I forget the exact percent, so don't quote me on this, but it was like 89 or 90% of men who are incarcerated in prison today come from a home where they didn't have a father growing up. Make of that what you will, whatever you want to infer from that, but he said during his research he found that, you know, 89, 90% of men who are incarcerated came from that fatherless home. And it all goes back to his research about how he's seen time and time again where young men especially have grown up over the years and they have carried out these heinous acts of violence, and a lot of times they come from, and he said it goes across all races too, all socioeconomic backgrounds too, where they grew up in that fatherless home. So he just really goes back to feeling like both parents should be, you know, playing an important role in the child's life.
Definitely. Yeah. You're a dad. You're a single dad. You have a young son. Yeah. Just for you personally, what were some of the things that you know, for David Oliver, the father, what are some of the things you picked up?
Well, you know, I'm lucky. My kids are from a divorced home, but my kids also have a good mom who's involved in their life and a good father who's involved in their life. But you know, I do understand what he's talking about as far as you got to be involved with your kids. And I think when you're from a divorce situation, and I'm sure a lot of you out there may be in the same boat, you know, a court's going to say, okay, well, mom's going to do this and dad's going to do this. But you have got to also do more than whatever that paper says. You really have to.
And that's exactly what Joe Miranda is working on. A lot of our reporters and anchors here are working on different angles of this same series with Everyone's Child. And Joe is talking about what it means to be a father, and he is going to be talking about that in his piece. We have other reporters who are working on different angles as well. I know you have some details on that for us too, David.
You mentioned Joe's piece, which we're airing tonight on Color 10. And what's interesting about Joe's piece is he's talking to a local group called Good Dads.
Yes, that's right.
And we actually did a profile interview. I did it right here on Ozark Tonight a month or two ago about the Good Dads program. And so he's going to be talking about some of the success stories they've seen through that program. This is a local program founded by Dr. Jennifer Baker. She's a local person here in town, and it's had some great success in terms of getting dads back involved with their children. In fact, one story we're going to have coming up about a success story through the Good Dads program. A guy here locally was incarcerated, never paid a dime of child support. Through that program, he was able to figure out some healthy and constructive ways to get back involved with his children, and now he considers paying child support to be a privilege.
Yeah, because the interesting thing too, you mentioned, you know, a lot of men who are incarcerated didn't have a father figure, and a lot of times is how can you be a father figure if you didn't have one? If you didn't learn it from someone else, then it's more difficult for you to learn that. So it's great to see organizations trying to make that connection. And John, I know you also have a piece coming up within the series, Everyone's Child. What is your angle and what have you learned so far? I know you have already done some interviews for your piece.
I think it's important to think as well, even if you're not a father yourself, you can still step into that role for a young boy, young girl out there that needs that in their life. In my story, I spoke with my angle is I'm talking to coaches that coach sports here in the area and how they can step into that role and help out young people that need that father figure role in their life. And coaches, they are, I spoke with a high school coach, and they serve so many more roles than just the X's and O's on the play sheet, if you will. You know, they are helping those young men, those high school kids and even younger with relationships, making sure they're staying on track in school. So much more than just teaching them the game. You know, sports itself teaches people good life lessons, you know, being a good team player, you know, being there for your teammates, win or lose, good life lessons. But it's so much more than that, and those coaches really step into that role.
Well, and it's like I talked about in my piece there, that Dr. Warren Farrell, who wrote the Boy Crisis book, he talks about role models. And it could be not just a coach, it could be a scout leader, somebody in the clergy, it could be another family member, a cousin, an uncle, or somebody like that. There are many different ways you can find role models, as the book suggests you can do, that would then have that positive impact in the life of a child who may need some mentoring and some guidance as they kind of chart the waters of the teenage years.
Yeah. Well, we are talking about good dads in a piece later today. There are other organizations too, like Big Brothers Big Sisters. That's one big push, and they're always talking about how they need more Big Brothers for that same reason. A lot of young boys in schools who don't have that father figure, and that's what Big Brothers Big Sisters does too, is have that older person who can be that person for them.
And as we go through all these pieces over the next several weeks on Color 10 News over on the other channel, we'll have them all on our website at ozarksfirst.com.
Right, and that's where you can find David's piece, John's piece. They're all going to be there on ozarksfirst.com. We'll be right back with more right here on Ozarks Tonight.